Hello and welcome to BlueTube, where we talk all things blue. And today I'm going to be giving you guys my reaction on the Champions League draw. It happened just a few hours ago from when I'm recording this. But before we get into that, I want to just tell you guys I'm back in Dubai. Yes, the flight was safe. Thanks for all the nice comments. And this is my new setup, so tell me what you think about it in the comment section down below. And regarding the transfer talk today, I've been really thinking about it, and so far there haven't really been any transfers. There haven't been any new rumors, any new developments. Actually, except Roberto Martinez has said that Everton will not be selling Stones, and they've rejected the transfer request. But other than that, there's really nothing to talk about. So unless something huge happens today, there will not be a transfer talk video. Just getting that out there right now. Just because of the reasons I said in yesterday's video. If you haven't checked that out, it'll be linked somewhere here. But forget that. Let's talk about this draw. And you probably can't see this from the camera, so boom, with some editing magic, here is the thing. You can pause the video right now to just see it in more detail. And boom, you have to see my ugly face for the remainder of this video. So as you guys can see, Chelsea have been drawn in Group G. And I think, to be honest, we have probably the easiest group out of all the top teams. Out of, Real Madrid, Barcelona, Juventus, Arsenal, Man U, Man City. We have the greatest group. We have the easiest group. And I have a mixture of excitement, but at the same time disappointment. And let me tell you guys why. Firstly, I'm excited because we're almost guaranteed. I mean, if we can't make it to the round of 16 with this group, then we are just terrible. We are just terrible at life. And so I have full confidence that we're going to top this group. Of course, Porto, it's going to be interesting to see because Mourinho, Porto, they've, kind of got, a thing. But also, if you guys remember, back in the 2005 season, in Mourinho's first season at Chelsea, we were drawn up in the same group as Porto as well. And if you guys remember, we got to the semi-finals of that Champions League. And we were only knocked out by a very, very controversial goal that Liverpool scored. But, we had a good run. Hopefully this is a beginning of another successful run for us. And that's kind of... Oh, also the disappointment factor. Well, you might be wondering why I'm disappointed. I should surely be happy that we're in a good group. And that we're, in an easy group. But to be honest, if you guys didn't know... because UEFA have changed their draw rules, they've changed the pots. Because as before, they just put the top 8 teams according to the UEFA coefficient into the pot 1 and then just go in order like that. But this year they've changed it, so it's not actually the best teams go into pot 1. So if you guys don't know, as you can see, just looking at here, Zenit and PSV, they're in pot 1, and you'd be wondering why are they in pot 1? And Real Madrid are in pot 2. Well, that's because Real Madrid didn't win the league or the Champions League, so they're not in pot 1. So if you win the league, like Chelsea did, like Barcelona did, like Juventus did, blah blah blah, then like Bayern Munich did, then you get into pot 1. But this year, since Barcelona won the league and the Champions League, it's opened up a space for PSV, the winners of the Netherlands League, the Eredivisie, to come into that pot 1 pot. Which means Real Madrid was pushed to pot 2. And to be honest, it's a strange thought. And it's probably not a very popular opinion. But I would have liked to be drawn up against Real Madrid. I don't know why. I just really want Chelsea to face Real Madrid this Champions League in this campaign. And I said in the 2015-16 season predictions video, which will be linked here somewhere, I said that I think Chelsea will meet Real Madrid in one of the knockout stages. And Chelsea will win. That was one of my predictions that I made. So, that could still happen, because this is only the group stages. But, I don't know. It would have just been fun to see, Rafa Benitez versus Chelsea, Mourinho versus Real Madrid. And actually, if you guys don't know, Chelsea have never ever played Real Madrid in a Champions League game. Just take that in. Just take it in. The last time Chelsea played Real Madrid was in 1999. And I think Chelsea won 2-1, if I can remember correctly. But that was before the Champions League was called the Champions League. I forgot what it's called before. Maybe it was called the European something. I forgot what it's called before. Because, to be honest, I was born in 1999. So, just, yeah. Let's talk about some other leagues now. Let's talk about some of the English teams and what groups they're in. And you know what? A lot of people are saying the other English teams didn't get as fortunate as Chelsea, and let's talk about that now. Group B is the group that Manchester United's in, and as you guys can see, or as you guys have seen before, PSV, Man United, CSK, and Wolfsburg. And to be honest, when I first looked at that, I thought, that's easy, Man U's gonna top that group, no problem. But if you think about it, PSV, okay, they won the Eredivisie, but realistically speaking, I don't see them getting past the group stage. Man United, they'll probably win, or they might come second, but I don't see them being knocked out in the group stages. But CSK Moscow, they are a force to be reckoned with. If you guys remember a few seasons back, they were in the same group as Manchester City, and they created some problems for Man City. And Man City a few seasons ago was a lot better than Man U this season. So who knows? They could be a surprise package, but I don't think they're gonna make it. And I think Wolfsburg, who are in pot 4, even though they came second in the Bundesliga last season after a phenomenal campaign, I think they have players that are good enough to make it past the group stages. And the strange thing is, Man City are being linked with Kevin De Bruyne, who is in Wolfsburg, who is a pivotal character in Wolfsburg. And strangely, it's quite ironic how Man City buying Kevin De Bruyne could actually help Manchester United's chances of making it past the group stages. But my predictions for Group B, actually I'll go through all my predictions at the very end. Let's just move on to Group D, which is what am I doing? Man City's in. And let me just read it out for you. Juventus, Man City, Sevilla, Mönchengladbach. And this is what they're calling the group of death. D for death. And I feel like Man City, over the last 3 seasons or so, they've always been in the group of death. They've always been in the worst group. And, the teams that I've just read out, they might not seem very scary. Because I think compared to, last season, the season before, the groups are very, very well spaced out. There isn't one group where you have all these, amazing, teams. Imagine you had a group where you had Bayern Munich, Real Madrid, Galatasaray, and Wolfsburg. That could have been a possible group, but that didn't happen. All the teams are pretty well spaced out, but the worst group that people are saying is Group D, and that's still not that bad as well. But let me just break it down for you. Juventus, their quality, Serie A winners for the last how many years? I don't even know. But also Champions League finalists last season. Man City, we know a lot about them. Sevilla, they won the Europa League, I think. So, they are a decent side. They're a good side. I think they could cause some problems. And Mönchengladbach, they actually finished 3rd in the Bundesliga last season. So, they could cause a lot of problems as well. A lot of people are calling it the group of death, the Champions League finalists with Man City, the English team. They didn't win anything, so I can't say. Sevilla, the Europa League winners, and Mönchengladbach, who finished 3rd in the Bundesliga ahead of teams like Dortmund. But of course, Dortmund, that's a story of its own. They had a catastrophic season last season. But that's Group D, the so-called group of death. But to be honest, I think Man City should be able to make it out of that group. It is the toughest of the groups, but it's still not that tough. Like last season, I remember there was a group, I can't remember the exact group, but there were 3 teams. The one that AS Roma was in, that group was, I think that was Man City was in that group as well. It was like Bayern, City, AS Roma, and some team. And that was, a lot tougher than this season. So I really expect Man City to make it out of this group. And the final English team here is Arsenal. And they are in Group F for failure, because they are failures. But they're with Bayern Munich, Arsenal, Olympiacos, and Dynamo Zagreb. And no disrespect to Olympiacos and Dynamo Zagreb, but, come on, Arsenal should be able to make it out. The question is, will they come 1st or 2nd? Because they've got Bayern Munich there, and they've been matched up against Bayern Munich quite a lot in recent years. It's quite strange. And, Man City and Barcelona have had that relationship as well, but this season, they're not. But Arsenal, of course, I expected to make it out of that group, realistically speaking. But I just think Bayern are going to edge it. They're a better team than Arsenal. Let's not forget that. That's just a fact. And I don't see Arsenal overtaking them. So Bayern will probably top that group, but Arsenal coming second comfortably. It's not going to be, Dynamo and Olympiacos fighting for that second place. Just realistically speaking, Arsenal should be making it out of there, easily. And those were the four groups with English teams. So Group B, Man United. Group D, Man City. Group F, Arsenal. And Group G, Chelsea. And let me just go through each of the groups individually and give you my predictions for number 1 and number 2. So Group A is Paris, Real Madrid, Shakhtar, and Malmo. And my prediction is Real Madrid first, Paris Saint-Germain second. And I know that's such a, unoriginal, theory, but it's kind of obvious. It's not obvious actually, because who knows? PSG could pose a lot of problems, but Real Madrid are Real Madrid. They're gonna top that group. Group B, I talked about this briefly, but my prediction is Man United first and Wolfsburg second. But I do think CSK and Wolfsburg and PSV really. No, in fact, I think it's gonna be a tough group. I think Man United. I think the points difference between Man United and first place and second place is going to be 1 point, and the difference between second place and third place is going to be 1 point. It's going to be that tough. But I do see Man United making it out on top, and Wolfsburg, as I said, second place. Group C, Benfica, Atletico Madrid, Galatasaray, and Astana. And just looking at it now, Atletico first place, no doubt. And, Benfica and Galatasaray are both quality teams. Let's not forget that. They're both really, really good. In recent years, they've had some good runs in the Champions League. But I think Galatasaray... Benfica... this is a tough one. Benfica's good. They're a quality side. But Galatasaray has had that recent history of just making it, past the group stages in the last... in how many seasons? About 2 or 3 seasons consecutively, I think. So, I'm feeling Galatasaray, but my brain tells me Benfica. I'm going to go with Galatasaray. So, first place Atletico, second place Galatasaray, but Benfica coming in third very, very closely. Let's go to Group D. Juventus, Man City, Sevilla, Mönchengladbach. This is the so-called group of death, but to be honest, for me, just looking at it, it's just not, very hard to see. I think it's gonna be... actually, this depends. I think if Pogba comes to Chelsea, this could be a very, very different story. So here's my prediction. Juventus first, Man City second, if and only if Pogba stays there. But if Pogba comes to Chelsea, then I'm gonna go for Man City first, Juventus second. Because I think Man City they've had a great start to the season. And really, they're the only team in the Premier League that's hit the ground running. And to be honest, right now, they're the best team in the Premier League. Let's not question that. As much as it hurts for me to say that, they are. And I do see them making it out on top if Pogba isn't there. So, if Pogba is there, Juventus, then City. But if Pogba comes to Chelsea, then City, then Juventus. Group E, Barcelona, Leverkusen, Roma, and Bate, I don't know, some team. They're not gonna make it. This is interesting as well. Barcelona first place, no doubt. But the battle between Leverkusen and AS Roma is going to be very, very interesting to see. But I just think AS Roma has got that extra quality, that extra, Champions League experience, and I just think they're gonna, they're just gonna come out on top compared to Leverkusen. So my prediction is Barcelona first, and AS Roma second. And Group F is the group with Bayern, Arsenal, Olympiacos, and Dynamo Zagreb. As I said, Bayern and Arsenal are obviously gonna make it through. The question is who comes out on first, but as I said before as well, my prediction is Bayern first, Arsenal second. Group G, Chelsea, Porto, Dynamo Kyiv, and Tel-Aviv. Just compared to the other teams, you can tell that Chelsea have the easiest team because you haven't even heard of 2 of those teams ever in your life before. For me, it's quite obvious, and really, Chelsea should be topping that group. So Chelsea first, and Porto, it's not even gonna be a competition. It's gonna be Chelsea first, Porto second, and then the other 2 teams just. I have a feeling that one of those teams is not even gonna win a single game. I have a feeling. Either Dynamo Kyiv or Tel-Aviv, one of those teams is gonna go through the whole Champions League campaign without winning a game. They might draw one against each other, but I just don't see them winning a game. I feel like it's gonna be one of those groups where it's not competitive at all for Chelsea and Porto, which you could say is a good thing, being a Chelsea fan. But that's my prediction. And Group H, the final group between Zenit, Valencia, Lyon, and Ghent. And, they're all above average. They're all good teams, except for Ghent. But, Zenit, Valencia, Lyon, they're all similar abilities, but they're all, not at the level of, Atletico, of Chelsea, of Bayern, of Arsenal. But they're not at the level of Sevilla. They're above that, of, Mönchengladbach. They're above that. So they're kind of in that between, just above average and world class. So it's going to be an interesting battle. And I think Group H could be one of the most competitive groups this season. And, this is a tough one. But my feeling, my instinct tells me Lyon first. And this is tough, guys. Valencia or Zenit? I mean, La Liga or the Russian league. Valencia, Zenit, Valencia, Zenit, Valencia, Zenit, Valencia, Zenit. I'm gonna go for Zenit. I have a strange feeling. I feel like Valencia does have the better team. They do have the, better players. But something just tells me Zenit's gonna make it out on top. So Group H, number 1 Lyon, number 2 Zenit. So those are all my predictions, guys. And I want to know your thoughts about this, but I don't want you to make like an essay in the comment section giving your predictions on every single one. So, this is my question for you today. Pick one group and give me your predictions on who's coming first and second in that group. But also tell me your predictions on who's going to come first and second in Group G, which is the group that Chelsea is in. So, that's my question of the day to you guys. But also, this is a big one. Who do you guys think is going to win the Champions League? And that is a big, big question because there's so many quality sides this season. And in my predictions video, I did say Barcelona are going to win it. But, no team has ever in the history of the Champions League won it back-to-back. So my claim could just sound completely ridiculous. A lot of people are saying Real Madrid. Who else is there? Atletico Madrid. Some even Chelsea. Tell me your thoughts in the comment section down below. My personal thought is that Barcelona are just gonna edge it. But who knows? By the way, the first game of the Champions League season kicks off on the 23rd of September, I think. But just, go on the Chelsea website just to make sure. But that just kind of sums up the summary for today. I hope you enjoyed it. And as I said, no transfer talk later on today. Unless there's a big transfer. But if everything goes as normal, I'll be back tomorrow with another transfer talk video. Hopefully something exciting happens because really nothing has happened in the last 12 hours or so. But we'll see. Thanks for watching, guys. Stay blue.